Okay, hello. All right, so I have Angela and I have Josh, who are some of my favorite buyers. They're no longer my buyers, which I'm sad about. You know, you always like, once you close on a house, it's like, oh.
Yeah, we can't hang out anymore.
In fact, probably some of you remember that they're the ones who bought the house with the purple bathtub. Got lots of comments on that, so that was awesome. So they're in the middle of like renovating the house and doing lots of stuff. So we're filming at their house. And I wanted to have them specifically because they have a wild story to tell us about, and it has to do a little bit with title insurance. So it made me think about this. So now y'all remember when you were buying the house and we were writing the contract, and I was telling you a little bit about title insurance and why it was important, right? Now, let me ask you, when I was telling you about title insurance, like what were kind of your first thoughts? Like, what is this? And what are you trying to sell us, Amber? Like, Do you remember us talking about it at all?
A little bit, and it was kind of like getting like the rental car insurance to me. It was like, oh no, don't get it, it's a scam, you know? But talking to you, you definitely had pinpointed the most important parts, and where he was like, yeah, we need to get it, we don't know what we're doing, first house.
Yeah.
We should trust our realtor, obviously.
Thank you. I appreciate that coming from the realtor. I appreciate that. Well, y'all were, I'll say y'all were some of my favorite clients and buyers because this was important to you, and you knew this was your first house, and you wanted it to be something that was like, you were doing it right the first time. And I'm glad that they said like, hey, listen, we got to listen, because title insurance is one of those things where you don't often need it, right? It is, but when it happens and you need it, it is big. So it protects against the title of the property, and you buy it once, and it's usually just a certain percentage of what the cost of the house is. So it varies in price. So I'm not going to throw a price out there in case any of you are asking, well, how much does it cost? Well, I'll have to find out on your next house when you call me to buy it. So, but when they had a crazy situation come, and I want them to tell the story because this came up and they called me, and I was like, oh my God, thank God you have title insurance because this could have turned into something bad. So you guys tell the story about what happened.
I think this is more of a you story to tell, at least for the first part.
Yeah, so I was home by myself, and I work later in the day normally. So at like maybe 9:30 in the morning, some guy's banging on our door, trying to like look in the windows. We have like a glass.
Yeah, like a transom next to the doors. Yeah.
So he's looking into it, walks around the house, looks in this big window out front, and I'm like, okay, I see him on the camera doing all of this. I'm like, okay, let me go see what's going on.
Yeah, like, who is this guy?
I go out there and I'm like, hi, can I help you? And immediately he's like, who are you? And I'm like, oh, okay, like, I'm Angela, I live here.
I'm
like,
the owner of the house, thank
this
you.
is my house. He's like, who do you live here with? And I'm like, well, me and my husband live here. Wait, who are you?
Yeah.
This is weird. And he pulls out documents like, this is my property, I own this, you guys don't have the right to be here. Basically like wanting me to be like, oh yeah, hold on, I'll get my stuff.
Right, let me pack up right now. And you said the other thing he handed you was like an obituary.
Yeah.
Like so when you all bought the house, it was from an estate. So the woman had passed away. She had lived here for like, what did we figure? It was 40 years or something. A very long time. Yeah, a very long time. And he came with the obituary from this woman and was like, see this, I know her, and
this is my name.
Right, this is my name too, right, and was like saying, yeah, this is my house, basically, get out. And you were like, no.
Yeah, and it was very scary, like, first house situation.
Right, of course.
So immediately, like, I had called you, like, I don't know what to do, and you're like, you have title insurance, it's fine, like, let me call around, see if, like, they know anything that holds the estate, kind of.
Yeah, so I called the listing agent, because when you called me about this, I was like, well, one, thank God they got the title insurance, because had this really been anything, like, you would have been protected. They wouldn't have been able to just take your house, showing all kinds of documents. But also, while I was on the phone calling the listing agent, then you had another visitor show up.
I sure did. It was a police officer.
So then the cops showed up at her house.
And a strange relative wasn't with the cop. It was just the cop. And he's like, I'm so sorry to do this. Like, it's in the middle of winter. It's freezing outside. And he's like, I'm so sorry. Do you live here? And I was like, yes.
Yes. You're the second person to ask me that today.
It's so crazy. And he's like, like, okay, do you have like any documentation that I can just see really quick? And I'm like, oh yeah, like it's on my license. Will that work? And he's like, yeah. And just your license would be fine, and I'll go and run it through the system. And I'm like, okay. And I asked him, like, does he have any rights to this house? Like, should I be calling a lawyer?
Yeah, what should I do? I mean, I called my realtor, but I don't think that's enough.
And he basically told me that he has seen this guy before and like not to worry about it, and that I have all of the right paperwork. So that's the last we heard from him.
Yeah.
Thankfully.
So it turns out after the cop came, and then I talked to you again, and I had talked to the listing agent at that point, and it was an estranged family member.
Mm-hmm.
So this person, I don't know if they had originally been in this will. It wasn't a son or a daughter direct. It was like a nephew or something like that. And I don't know if he got cut out of the will. I don't know if he already ran through his inheritance. Who knows what the situation was. But he was pissed because he thought this property should belong to him.
Yes.
And even went so far as to go to the police and report them as being in his property illegally.
Yes.
So anyway, thank God he didn't show back up. We took care of it. The listing agent called the people in charge of the estate and said, hey, this guy shut up. I mean, luckily he gave his name. Like,
Right.
you know, we could say who he was, and we're gonna not violate his rights on here. Even though maybe some of you know who it is. I don't know. But we're not gossiping on here. We're just here to provide valuable information. So the whole point of this was that had this gone, and had that guy said, like, if they had to go into this at all and look into this and look into you guys would have been protected because the title insurance would have protected you from this. So, but these are the kind of wacky situations that can come up in real estate. So any thoughts, Josh?
I would honestly just say that if you don't get it and anything is wrong, you don't get the insurance and anything is wrong, you're liable to pay the rest of the loan. But because we had the insurance, I mean, we were covered. That's the biggest thing that I take away from that.
Okay.
And I don't think if I ever buy another house, I'm not going to get the insurance.
Yeah. And again, it's like one of those things that's it's rare that things happen, but when they do, they're usually big things.
Strange.
That get strange, big, and also can really, you know, it puts your livelihood at risk. I mean, you just spent a lot of money on a huge investment for yourself and your life. So you know, paying a little bit of money out of pocket up front for as long as you own the house is really important. Peace of
Definitely
mind.
Peace of mind
Yeah.
is what I was gonna say too, because that day I was like, oh my gosh, like this is it. Like my whole everything is gone.
I know.
Already got
Amber, we're coming to live with you. And that would only flow for a little bit of time. You would have got tired of my teenager after that. So. All right. Well, thank you guys. Thank you so much for sharing this. I really do appreciate it. And I hope this is like
Helpful.
a helpful for everybody else too. So, okay. Bye.